Cooper flies his jet when suddenly it loses power. He wakes up from a dream about it. His daughter Murph talks about ghosts, but Cooper doesn't want to discuss it. They have breakfast with Donald, Cooper's father-in-law. Tom, Cooper's son, teases Murph about ghosts. Cooper challenges Murph to prove her theory. They talk about a spreading disease called blight affecting farms. On their way to school, they get a flat tire. Cooper fixes the tire while talking with Murph. They see a military drone and follow it despite the flat tire. Cooper successfully captures the drone with Murph's help. They arrive at school. Tom goes to class while Murph stays in the car. Cooper attends a parent-teacher conference where the principal talks about Tom's potential as a farmer. Cooper wants Tom to go to college instead. Murph's teacher worries about her interest in the moon landing. Cooper defends Murph's passion. Cooper tells Murph she's suspended and takes her to a baseball game. They return home to find tractors malfunctioning and books scattered in Murph's room. Cooper fixes the tractors, reminiscing with Donald about the past. At the baseball game, sirens announce a sandstorm, but people stay calm. Murph and Cooper return home, noticing a strange pattern on the floor. Cooper realizes it's gravity, not a ghost. They decode messages in the sand, leading to a secret location. Cooper prepares to go there alone, but Murph hides and joins him. They drive carefully into the unknown area at night. Behind the walls, a team of engineers is busy working on a rocket ship. Professor Brand explains that society no longer supports funding for space exploration due to the famine. Instead, they focus on solving the food shortage crisis. Different crops are being affected by a disease called blight each year, leading to the abandonment of wheat and potatoes, with corn expected to follow. The blight is depleting Earth's oxygen, and Professor Brand predicts that Murph's generation may be the last to survive. NASA doesn't have a plan to save the world but intends to leave it. Professor Brand introduces Cooper to Project Endurance, part of the Lazarus missions, Earth's last hope to find a habitable planet. After some persuasion, Cooper agrees to be the pilot for Project Endurance, driven by his desire to secure a future for his children. In the conference room, Cooper learns about the wormhole near Saturn that leads to another galaxy, possibly placed by benevolent beings to aid humanity. 10 years ago, NASA sent 12 astronauts to 12 planets, but only 3 sent back transmissions about potential habitability. The mission has 2 plans. Plan A involves using the facility as a spacecraft propelled by gravitational forces, and Plan B aims to start a colony with thousands of fertilized eggs. Professor Brand assures Cooper that Plan A will be ready by the time he returns. Inspired by his determination, Cooper puts his faith in him. Back home, Cooper tries to comfort Murph, who's upset about his departure. Donald talks to Cooper about his dream finally coming true. Cooper expresses that the mission is humanity's last chance. It's time for them to leave the planet that's slowly killing them. In the morning, Cooper comforts Murph, telling her he's doing this for her and Tom. Murph tries to convince him to stay, mentioning the stay message from the ghost, but Cooper hugs her tightly and gives her a watch to remember him by. However, Murph throws it away in anger. As the countdown begins, tears stream down Cooper's face. The rocket launches and Cooper's crew, along with TARS, leaves Earth. In space, Cooper and Amelia exchange playful banter as they approach the Endurance space station. Inside, they power up the controls and prepare for the journey. The station starts rotating, making Romilly feel sick, but Amelia helps him with medication. Professor Brand wishes them luck on their 2-year journey to Saturn as Endurance heads into deep space. Observing Earth from afar, Cooper reflects on the distance. Meanwhile, Romilly prepares for deep sleep. Amelia and Cooper discuss the astronauts they'll potentially meet. Cooper privately questions TARS about Amelia's relationship with Dr. Edmonds, but TARS avoids the question. Cooper records a goodbye message to his children before entering deep sleep. Back on Earth, Professor Brand visits Cooper's family, giving them his recorded message. Murph isn't interested, and Brand talks to Donald about taking care of her. Years pass, and near Saturn, Cooper is awake, watching video messages from his family. He comforts Romilly, who's feeling paranoid. Cooper and Doyle review images collected by probes from the wormhole. As they approach the wormhole, the crew waits anxiously in their spacesuits. The ship barely maintains integrity as they travel through the wormhole at incredible speeds. Amelia notices a distortion in space, resembling an arm reaching out. She reaches for it, but everything goes silent, and the ship stabilizes, continuing their journey smoothly. The crew gathers to decide which planet to visit, with Dr. Edmonds out of contact. One option is a planet near Gargantua, a black hole where time moves much faster. Doyle and Cooper disagree. Doyle leans toward Plan B, while Cooper suggests a compromise. Landing on the opposite side of Gargantua to minimize time distortion. Preparations made, Case joins the crew while Romilly stays behind. As they approach the planet, they encounter heavy turbulence. Cooper skillfully lands the craft near a vast ocean. Doyle and Amelia venture out while the crew readies for landing. They discover debris from Dr. Miller's beacon and head towards the mountains, which turn out to be waves. Realizing the danger, they rush back to the ship. Amelia retrieves Dr. Miller's data but falls, prompting Case to rescue her. Unfortunately, Doyle is swept away by a wave flooding the ship. Despite surviving the rough seas, the ship sustains damage. Cooper blames Amelia for not returning on time, realizing they've lost decades due to the time difference. Amelia believes Dr. Miller arrived only hours ago, explaining the relatively intact wreckage. Cooper's despair deepens as he realizes his daughter is now an adult. As another wave approaches, they manage to restart the engine and escape. Back on the ship, a much older Romilly greets them, informing them they've been gone for over 23 years. Meanwhile, Cooper watches over 23 years' worth of video messages, seeing his children grow and facing loss. Murph's birthday message prompts him to return. Cooper insists that Dr. Mann, who maintains contact with them, is the clear choice. He confides in Romilly about Amelia's bias towards Edmund's planet due to their relationship. Amelia doesn't deny it, arguing that their love should influence their decision. Unswayed, Romilly and Cooper opt to head to Dr. Mann's planet. Back on Earth, Tom embraces his role as a farmer, taking drastic steps to halt the spread of the blight. Murph visits him and his family, witnessing the deteriorating conditions affecting his son, Co-op. In Endurance, Amelia holds resentment towards Cooper, warning of the dire consequences if Dr. Mann's planet proves unsuitable, forcing them to choose between returning or proceeding with Plan B on Edmund's planet, endangering billions on Earth. Murph rushes to Professor Brand's bedside as he nears death, promising to carry on his work. Brand confesses that Project Endurance wasn't meant to return, leaving Murph shocked and frustrated. Murph accuses Amelia of being complicit in her father's lies through a video message. As a spacecraft approaches Dr. Mann's planet, the crew discovers him in cryosleep. Mann reveals that while the current location lacks breathable air, the lower surface may support life. He justifies Brand's actions, emphasizing the necessity of sacrificing lives to ensure humanity's survival. Tars plays Murph's message, revealing the truth to the crew. Cooper struggles to accept it, planning to return to Earth. Meanwhile, Murph shares the professor's deceit with Getty, who believes society deserves to know the truth. However, Murph remains hopeful about Plan A, driven by a gut feeling and her determination to decipher the messages from the ghost in her room. As Murph returns home, tensions rise with Tom, who refuses to leave despite worsening conditions. Murph, along with Getty, orchestrates a distraction to rescue Tom's family and return to her room to continue her pursuit of the truth. As Cooper prepares to depart the alien planet, Romilly suggests sacrificing Tars by throwing him into the black hole to gather information about its interior. Despite Tars being a robot, he accepts the challenge, showcasing his humanity. Meanwhile, Dr. Mann focuses on constructing laboratory and habitat modules sent from Endurance. Cooper accompanies Mann to scout potential locations, during which Mann discusses the strength of human survival instincts, particularly heightened as a father. However, their conversation takes a sinister turn when Mann removes Cooper's transmission device and pushes him off a ledge, revealing his treachery. Mann admits to falsifying data and endangering the mission to save himself. A struggle ensues, resulting in Cooper being exposed to toxic air and left to suffocate by Mann. Cooper manages to send a distress signal to Amelia, who, along with Case, rushes to his aid. They rescue Cooper and learn of Mann's deception. Meanwhile, Romilly begins modifying Tars but senses something amiss in Dr. Mann's tactical robot's data. An explosion occurs, and Mann, surprised, hears Cooper's voice alive with Amelia over the radio. As TARS delivers the news of Romilly's death, Man boards the ship with intentions to desert the crew. Despite Cooper's attempts to communicate with him, Man remains unresponsive. With the auto-docking procedure disabled, Man attempts a manual docking but fails to align the ship properly. Ignoring warnings, Man opens the hatch, causing an explosion. Cooper and the crew witness the explosion from afar, and debris approaches them. Cooper takes control of the spacecraft, deciding to pursue Endurance and dock at extreme speeds. Despite initial doubts, they successfully align with Endurance and begin rotating together. As the crew exits Gargantua's orbit, they experience intense G-force, causing Amelia to black out temporarily. Cooper struggles to maintain control of the ship, but TARS successfully locks in, stabilizing Endurance. They realize they're heading toward Gargantua, and despite celebrating their escape, they face the harsh reality that they can't return to Earth. With the navigation destroyed, Cooper proposes using Gargantua as a giant slingshot to propel them towards Edmund's planet. They prepare to shed all unnecessary weight, including TARS, who selflessly agrees to sacrifice himself for humanity. Endurance enters Gargantua's orbit, and as they reach maximum velocity, they initiate the exit plan. Engines fire off one by one, and TARS bids farewell before detaching. Cooper makes the ultimate sacrifice by detaching his section, ensuring Amelia's survival. As he approaches the center of the black hole, he communicates with TARS and experiences a surreal journey through darkness and flashes of light. Cooper finds himself in a room filled with books, each wall depicting a different event in Murph's past. Realizing he can communicate through Morse code, he tries to convey the word "stay" to Murph. Meanwhile, present Murph, emotionally overwhelmed, searches for a childhood message hidden in her books. As Cooper witnesses pivotal moments in Murph's life, he pleads with his younger self to stay. Present Murph realizes the connection between Cooper's messages and the mysterious occurrences from her childhood, understanding that her father was the ghost. TARS, surviving the journey, explains to Cooper that they're in a dimension where time is a physical plane. Cooper seizes the opportunity to send a message to Murph through gravity. With TARS's help, he transmits NASA's coordinates to his past self. Present Murph, seeing the Morse code message on the watch, embraces Tom, believing their father has returned to save them. In Brand's office, she deciphers the quantum data and begins executing Plan A, bringing hope for humanity's survival. Murph celebrates her breakthrough, sharing a kiss with Getty in her joyous triumph. TARS informs Cooper that their plan has succeeded. As the omnibenevolent beings begin closing the dimension they're in, Cooper realizes that these beings are evolved humans from the distant future, transcending into a higher state of existence. As the bright light consumes him, he sees Amelia reaching out to him, her hand being the distortion she had previously seen. Cooper awakens in a hospital room and learns they're at Cooper Station near Saturn, named after his daughter. He tours the station, witnessing humanity's progress, and finds his home turned into a museum honoring his life. He reunites with TARS and later fixes him up. Entering a room, he encounters his descendants and an elderly Murph, overjoyed to see him but urging him to find Amelia. Meanwhile, Amelia and Case are on a foreign land, awaiting Cooper's arrival. The omnibenevolent beings, revealed to be future humans, have evolved to manipulate multidimensional planes, allowing them to create the space-time dimension where Cooper transmitted the quantum data to Murph. This data enabled humanity to execute Plan A, leading to the establishment of space stations across the galaxy, including Cooper Station. Cooper sets out on a journey with TARS to reunite with her, unaware of the developments that have occurred in his absence.